So a leader asked me recently, she was like, Duran, do we really need to be inspecting every single opportunity that comes into our dealership? Internet, phones, walk in. And I said, well, that depends. If there's gaps in the follow-up and if we need to really change some behaviors, then we might need to look at every opportunity. But not just you, the leader. We got to spread that out amongst the whole team. We can use technology for this, but it's so great to really understand those habits. Okay, so we're going to talk about the 5 non-negotiables that you can set up for you and your team. They don't have to be what I'm going to review today, but I think it's so important to have a standard.
5 minutes with Cage. That's all we need to shift the mindset, to move the needle. We talk CRM, we talk leads, we talk flow. Internet money, let it grow, let it grow. Video selling, let them see, let them know. AI in the system, now we're running the show. This is Cage.
Today, this is 5 minutes with Cage. So much gratitude in advance for sharing your time, love, and energy. And so follow-up has been something that's been important to you and your team, specifically driving more appointments, more business. That way, they hang in there with me because I'm going to share something with you. Here's kind of like an example of the Cage 5. And they might not be your 5. They might not be the 5 that I would recommend exactly for a certain dealership. But this is just an example for every customer, every time, no exceptions if you're tracking with me. Okay? So an example could be every time we get an internet customer, we want to make sure that they get a call, a text, an email, if all this is provided. And then we send some media to them. We're sending pictures, we're sending videos, content, right? As a side note that you can also repurpose later. I always drop that in there. But the one that I have highlighted that I think is super important is right here, this manager touch. I think that's such a big opportunity because if we take it back a little bit, so those people that have been in the business for quite some time, early manager intervention or turnovers or whatever word you want to use is such a great practice. And it doesn't matter if it's a dealership, a business, a restaurant. We all feel some kind of way when a leader steps into the process. And so I highlight this as manager touch because this is the thing that I see not as often that's done consistently at most stores. And so I want everybody to breathe for a second and think this could be way too much, right? Especially, some people might be thinking, when does all this need to be done? Is it the first 15 minutes, 30 minutes to an hour, right? I would set up the right expectations of what could be done consistently, right? But the manager touch is an option that if that's one thing that you're not doing now, have a leadership meeting about, okay, who's going to be the leader that's going to make sure every guest that we have, whether they walk in, it's phone and internet, we're introducing ourselves, we're touching them. And imagine if a leader did the picture or video. They pulled their phone out and right there was like, hey, this is Durran over at ABC Motors. Just want to introduce myself, say thank you for the opportunity, and specifically to see if there's anything that I could assist you with, whether it be a quote, whatever. That's so fire. You're really making that customer feel, they're feeling really good, right? And so as leaders, the whole process of doing this is it also brings confidence into your sales team or your internet team. When they see that a leader is stepping up in there as well, they get pretty fired up. So the challenge, or I would say the thing that I would recommend for you to do is to audit your last 10 opportunities. So you go to your CRM or, print that log out and then look at your last 10 and see how many of those had a manager touch, what was said in that, and then what were some of the results. So I'll give you an example. You can even automate this. So we have some clients where we've automated the leadership touch. And it's incredible just on automating a leadership touch where it's a check-in, right? So like an example, we have one that's good where the leader follows up and has a text that says, hey, just wanted to check in with you, see if there's anything that I could provide. You looked at a new fill in the blank, and hey, if you wanted to discuss incentives, you want me to get you a quote, I got you. And no cap, 1 out of every 4 of those messages that goes out on a new vehicle, these customers reply back and say, absolutely, I would love that. And so what that did is that let the leaders know with certain sources, we don't need to just have automation. Let's beat it to the punch. Let's get involved early and not wait on them. There's so many things that we can do to be creative. And so my message today is to encourage you to have your 5 non-negotiables. You know, what are those 5 things that you expect out of your team with every guest? Maybe it's getting the guest a Google review. Maybe it's getting a guest a link to a pre-approval. Be as creative as you want. Maybe it's introducing them to your why buy, you know, and really setting the stage. So instead of demanding what you want your team to do, explain to your team why we're doing these things and what the results should be so that there's buy-in, and then make sure that there's leadership involvement and make sure that we're championing this thing. So listen, if this is something that would help you, maybe you want me to send you this this diagram, or just connect with us on some strategies that might help you and your team. Hey, that's what we're here for at Cage Automotive. But until then, I hope this helped at least one leader reorganize that and set up a straight process. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, and love. So much gratitude.
That's all we
Until
need.
next time, y'all, be well. So
Shift the mindset.